And in part two of this tutorial series, I'll be creating a character in Make Human, and yeah, taking you through the important steps and which weeks to choose in Make Human. And then in part one, I just showed you how to extract specific animations from a BVH file, and now we're going on to part two. Okay, so this is just the basic modeling. Create a basic male character. So I'll just be rushing through here. Okay. And then choose a skin texture. Just a random skin texture for this case. And an important thing to note here is to make sure that you generally I'd advise you not to put the tongue, anything inside the mouth, the tongue and the teeth. This generally creates some exporting problems with the Ochre exporter. Yeah. No poly eyes in this case. And maybe some eyebrows, but definitely no tongue or teeth or anything else. And the rig which is going to be used is Sonotic JSON. This one works perfectly. I actually tried the other rigs and they didn't work that well, very well with the Ochre exporter. And now when that is done, export the character. Okay, it's supposed to be Make Human exchange. Yeah, that's a mistake. So I have to wait for this one. Okay, so export to Make Human Blender exchange, and then meter, select the meter scale so that it's not that very large in Blender, and then export. And then the next thing, we're going to go to Blender and import our created character. We're basically going to delete everything in the scene and then import. You need to enable this plugin. Okay, show you how to do it. So import Make Human Blender exchange and then export the character into the scene. Okay. So the first part, important thing to do is to make sure the clothes fits perfectly inside with the character. Because, for example, some overlapping clothes. So in edit mode, enable proportional editing. For this case, press Alt and then right click and scale in the y-axis. Depending on your character, then grab it along the y-axis just to straighten up. Whichever way will work for you, just to make sure that close fitting. And then for us, for this one, it's preferred to disable proportional editing. Alt then right click and then scale. Alt right click and scale again. Just to track a few vertices, just to make sure that they don't overlap with whatever's inside the mesh. Okay. And the next thing to do is I want to join all the objects, all the meshes objects inside the scene. So usually the skin is the one which has a different UV texture map. So I'll have to rename that one first, so that they won't create any UV mapping problems when I press Ctrl J and try to join it with the rest. So in the object properties panel, okay. Just need to rename this UV texture to texture like all the other objects. Okay. And now I can select everything else. Then hold Shift and select everything else. And then hit Ctrl J. And it's now combined. Then I can tap into edit mode. As you can see, it's now all texture. Okay. share the same UV code coordinates. And now in edit mode, it's usually some materials for the skin which are not that very useful in this case. So I like to remove those. And then for the material properties with Ocrex XML, I'm not so sure about this one, but in the past, before it actually worked for me, I had to remove the transparency and whatsoever shade, especially the subsurf modifier for the what, not the subsurf, for the skin and remove and then remove maybe the alpha properties in the textures for anything other which is not here, just so that the character looks proper. And then for the skin, it is the subsurf scattering. It's not wanted when you want to export your character to. Also, when you want to use the Okra XML exporter. So now, what I'm basically doing now is removing the alpha property, alpha influence on the texture for the skin, and everything else except the eyebrows. Just removing the alpha influence. And everything else except the eyebrows. Okay, I have to come back. Actually, I removed it. It's a mistake. I have to come back to the eyebrows. Okay. You definitely need to use the alpha for the eyebrows. And then now that is said and done, what is left now is to make sure that the object chain, all the pipeline whatsoever, they need to just share the same name, whatever they call it. So in this case, I'm going to rename them to my character, and then to the just rename everything in that chain, in that order, whatever they call it, the objects. Yeah, rename it to my character, and even if you're using a single material, just rename it to my character for just to make sure it's just one of those things you just have to do. Yeah, just something discovered. And now for the armature, I'm just going to remove shapes, but it doesn't have that much of an effect. And so now I'll just be setting up the rig, and then now in edit mode it's time to add the root bone, hit shift and then D, then Z to extrude into the Z-axis, then snap to the 3D scissor, and just make sure the tip of the tail of the bone is not rotated. Yeah. And just grab it up, just to size it up a bit. And I'm going to rename it to root bone. And I'm going to go back to the previous root bone hips and parent it to the root bone. And I am done. So in part 2, I'll be showing you how to animate this rig using the BVH files which we created. And then I'm just going to save this blend file and see you. Thanks for watching.